First and foremost, we want to give all praises and honor and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, and we do so by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and what we're going to be going into today is the 70 weeks prophecy. All right, spoken by Daniel. All right, given to Daniel. All right, so we're going to be going through that prophecy. A lot of rich history. It's a lot of nuggets that can be uncovered. So we're going to be going through this. Also, if you're new to this channel, then we want to say shalom, shalom. All right, and this is what we call the open table topic Bible study. All right, because once you get familiar with us, then you'll be able to join in. You can call in. You'll be able to voice your thoughts. You know, because we open it up. It's like a round table. So all praises to the Most High for that. So we're going to get right into it. This is the 70-week prophecy given to Daniel, right? So we're going to be going over 490 years of prophecy, all right? But we do want to start at verse 24 because that's where it starts at. There's 4 verses, but we're going to go back up contextually so that we can get the whole understanding. Okay, so let's go to verse 24. All right, and let me go ahead and share my screen so that we can follow along, so that y'all can follow along, just in case you do not have your Bibles. Okay.
Hey, brother, I don't know if it's me, because I got mine loud. I can't hear you as loud as I could. Let me bring me down because now I got echo.
All right. How does it sound now? Do I just need to speak up?
Uh, I'm not sure if it's, I mean, the levels look good, but I just can barely hear you. Coming in clean, but I just need a little more volume. But I don't know if it's on my end or your end. I really can't tell.
Okay, con. Uh, I'll try and speak up, but I got my volume up as high as it'll go.
You do? Okay. Okay. Well, we'll go with that. As long as I'm not, I hear echo on my end, but I don't know how it sound on your end.
Oh no, I don't hear echo.
Okay. All right. We'll work with it.
Okay, con. All right, so let's go to Daniel chapter 9. We're gonna start at verse 24. All right, we're just gonna start here, and then we're gonna jump back up to verse 1, just to make sure everything is contextualized properly. Okay. All right, so let's read that. Who's reading? Who's reading for me?
I can read.
Okay, brother. All right, you got it.
All right, Daniel chapter 9, verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy.
Okay, so let's just get some understanding of just that one verse. All right, 70 weeks. All right, so we're talking about not actual weeks, but we're actually going into a week that actually equals a year. Okay, so there's 7 sets of 7 years, and a week is 7 years. All right, so that's how we're gonna get a full understanding of this. But let's get some precepts to go along with that. Okay, well, let's get Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 6. Ezekiel chapter 4 verse 6. I'm gonna try and keep up with you, brother. All right, Ezekiel chapter 4 verse 6. So everybody looking on the screen, what you're going to see is that on the left-hand side is the KJV version, and on the right side is the NLT version, okay? So we're going to be reading out the KJV version, okay? So we need Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 6, brother.
That verse 6.
Come.
Okay, Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 6. And when thou hast accomplished them, lie again on thy right side, and thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days. I have appointed thee each day for a year.
All right, so you can see there that this is not something that's new. All right, there's because this would equal out to 40 years. Each 40 days, each day for a year, this would have been 40 years. Okay, so this is not nothing new when it comes to biblical um, perception. Okay, let's prove it some more. Let's go to Genesis chapter 29. Genesis chapter 29, verse 27. All right, follow along. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Okay, like I said, this is open table topic. All right, 29 verse 27.
Genesis chapter 29, verse 27. Fulfill her
Uh
week,
huh.
and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years.
Right. So we know that. As a matter of fact, read verse 28 for me.
Verse 28. And Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also.
Okay. So if you're not familiar with the story, Laban kind of deceived Jacob. Right. He kind of deceived him, and he thought that he was marrying Rachel. But of course, um, it didn't work out that way. But he had to work another 7 years for Rachel. Okay, because in the custom, it was the firstborn daughter that's supposed to get married off first. Well, Jacob wanted Rachel, so he worked them 7 other years. But in verse 28, it says he fulfilled the week. He fulfilled her week. All right, so that week meaning 7 years. So, like I said, this is not a new concept when we read the Bible. All right, and let me get one more. Um, Numbers chapter 14, verse 34. Numbers chapter 14, verse 34. Make sure that you're writing these precepts down, right? Very important to have these precepts so you can go back to them, look over them, analyze them. Numbers chapter 14, verse 34.
And Numbers chapter 14.
Numbers chapter 14, verse 34.
All right, Numbers chapter 14, verse 34. After the number of the days in which ye searched the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities. Even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise.
All right. So you know that this is going into when he was spying out the land, that the Most High Yahweh promised to the Israelites, and of course, when they were spying out, they came back. Some of them gave them reports that wasn't pleasing in Yahweh's sight, so he kind of cursed them, right? And had them wander in the wilderness for 40 years. Okay, it says that you should bear. It says even 40 days, each day for a year, shall you bear your iniquities, even 40 years. Okay, so those are just some precepts that when we talk about the 70 weeks, and you can kind of get an understanding of exactly, because all the time is gonna add up, right? The time frames are gonna add up. All right, so let's go back to Daniel. We're gonna start at verse 9. We're gonna start at verse 1. I want to get something else. I took some screenshots here. So as you can see, 77 sets of sevens, right? Each day for a year, you can see that adds up to 490 years. Okay, so I just got some pictures here, kind of giving y'all an idea of how that would look. All right, we're going to get some of these. We're going to get these precepts and we're going to line them up. Okay, let's go back to Daniel. chapter 9. Let's just start at verse 1. Start at verse 1, Baba Kishore, for the full historical context, right?
Come. Daniel chapter 9, verse 1. In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king of the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years, whereof the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolations of Jerusalem.
Right, so we can stop right there for 1 second. So it says during the time of the in the first year of his reign, it says Daniel understood. Let me get Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11, right? Because it said it came through the word of Yahweh to the prophet Jeremiah. So let's get an understanding of what that is talking about, okay? When it talks about the Chaldeans, we're talking about the Babylonians, okay? So during the time of the Babylonian captivity, he understood the prophecy spoken and given to Jeremiah through the spirit of Yahweh about the 70 years of desolations of Jerusalem. So let me get Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11.
Prophet Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11. And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years.
All right, Con. So this is this is years before it even happened. Okay, so this was something that a prophecy that was given to the prophet Jeremiah, and of course, it did come to pass, which is where we're at right now. Okay, so let's go back to Daniel chapter 9, and you can pick up at verse 3, brother.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 3. And I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplications with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed unto Yahweh my power, and made my confession, and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful Most High, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to them that keep his commandments.
Read.
We have sinned and have committed iniquity, and have done wickedly, and have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments.
So you can see that we as the people sinned against the Most High. And of course, we know that you had prophets like Daniel, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. You know, they wasn't, they didn't sin, but we as a people sinned. And that's important because Israelites, we're just so scattered. This person believes this, but it's like, well, everything that's happening to the nation of Israel, it's not happening to me. I'm doing good. I got a good job. I got a good house. It's almost like they just turn their backs on their own nation just because they're doing good. But us overall, we're in the poorest parts of the city, called the ghetto. We have the poorest jobs. We have nobody fighting for us. We have nobody in the UN that can stick up for us, and we just kind of integrate into all these other nations, and we forget ourselves that we are a nation and we are a people, and we need to come back together. So in order for us to become that nation that the Most High wants us to be, we have to come back to his commandment and stop sinning. Right? We have to get away from these other gods and come back to the one true God, Yahweh, right? Let's go to verse 6. Anybody want to, if anytime anybody wants to say something, please jump in. All right, verse 6.
Verse 6. Neither have we hearkened unto thy servants the prophets, which spake in thy name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee.
Uh-huh.
O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee.
Yeah, and just real quick, just to make a note, when it says confusion of face, that means shame. Okay, that's all that means. It means we have brought shame upon ourselves. Okay, I know that coming into this truth, the first thing you hear about confusions of faces is different skin tones or different colors, but that's not the true understanding. The true understanding is, of course, that we have brought shame, and you can look it up in the Hebrew. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's do that real quick. So it's shameful thing. Okay, so that's the true meaning. All right. I digress. Let's get back to it. Verse 9, brother.
Verse 9. To the Lord our power belong mercies and forgivenesses, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yahweh our power to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets.
All right. Verse 11.
Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him.
All right, so let's start right here. So we see that right here that is talking about all Israel transgressed the law. All right. So now the curse is poured upon us. What curse is that talking about? This is talking about the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68. All right. Because it says, the curse is poured upon us and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, right? Because we have sinned. You remember that if we disobey his voice, curses will be poured upon us, all right? If we obeyed, then we would live fruitful. We would have all the blessings. But of course, in history, we see that all Israel have transgressed. So the punishment started in Babylon with the 70 years, right? You remember a couple of verses up, and it said the prophet Jeremiah was given the prophecy about the 7 years. So it started in Babylon. So you'll see that as we start to move down, matter of fact, we can go down to verse 21. We're going to see that we got even more punishment for our transgressions. And of course, that's via or through the curse of the 70 weeks. So now that we got a good backdrop to what's going on in Daniel chapter 9, let's go ahead and go down to verse 21. And we're going to start getting into these last four scriptures that are dealing with the 490 years. Okay, so verse 21.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 21. Yea, whilst I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation.
Right, the evening sacrifices, right? Read on.
And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplications, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved. Therefore understand the matter and consider the vision.
Okay, so now we see that Daniel's getting a vision from the angel Gabriel, right? So now we're going to get into these to the breakdown that was given to Daniel by the angel Gabriel. Okay, now we're going to get into it and get the prophecy given to Daniel. All right, so let's read verse 24.
Verse 24, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy.
Okay, so now we're going to break this down. So this is not just upon the people, but also upon Jerusalem, the city. All right. So when we read 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city, then it says to finish the transgression and to make an end of sin. All right, because the Babylonian captivity that wasn't sufficient enough for the justice and punishment rendered by the Most High for our iniquity. Okay, and it says to make an end of sin. Well, who was that through? That was through Mashiach Yahushua, right? He was the one who's going to make the reconciliation for our sin, for our iniquity. So that is when Yahushua, through the will of his father Yahweh, was given for a sacrifice for Israel. Okay, so just so we know the importance of what we're reading here. All right, and we're going to get some history in a minute. So let me get verse 25. Read verse 25 for me, about the show.
Verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times.
All right, so we're going to read about some of this history, right? So from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem, all right? This is important because this decree right here that we just talked about is talking about the commandment to restore and build the city, okay? Because there is another decree that was set forth to rebuild and restore the temple. Two different things, okay? And it says the 7 weeks is going to be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. All right. So when you add all that up, that's the 7 weeks that was already given, and also the 62 weeks, which is the 69 weeks, and that all equals out to 483 years. Okay. So from the time the commandment was given until Yahushua is 483 years. This is an approximate time for the decree, but we can see how accurate the prophecy is. All right. 400 BC is an approximate time. Yahushua was born in the 1st century. So that's a little over 400 years. So all the prophecy is lining up. Okay, all the prophecy is lining up. And it says the street shall be built again, not the temple. All right. And it also talked about troublous times. I'm just going through it. I'm going through the scripture so that we can get some understanding. Anybody have any questions so far? Let me see if I have something here that y'all can kind of see. I kind of got this right here. Let me turn it this way so y'all can see the whole thing. All right.
So this prophecy is a dual prophecy, or this prophecy, based on what you're saying, has already been fulfilled?
Yeah, this has already been fulfilled.
Okay.
Okay, but the curses, now that all the curses happen here also in Deuteronomy 28, but that's still an ongoing curse for the people.
Right.
If that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see where the decree was given, and that was and this is approximate times, okay? 457 BC, right, when it was made. 7 weeks, 1 week equals a year. So that was 49 years, all right, from the decree. And then from the commandment was given until the Messiah is 483 years. Do y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just want to make sure everybody understands that. All right, all praises. So now we're going to start getting into some of this troublous times. Let me see what I want to show y'all. Let me see. Okay, that's good enough right there. So we'll go back here. All right, so let's get some precepts dealing with the troublous time. Okay, you all right over there? You okay? All right. Let's go into some precepts about the troublous time. So let's go to Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 5. Let's go there first.
Don't worry. Now you asked her, because she said, is troublous times the same as Jacob's trouble?
No, negative, negative. This is just during the time of them building the temple. I mean, Jerusalem, when it was building it back up. They didn't. It wasn't a smooth ride, right? They had adversity, right? And we're going to read about it. Troublous times. You can go ahead and read Nehemiah chapter. We're going to start at verse 5. Chapter 2, we're going to start at verse 5.
All right. Nehemiah chapter 2 and verse 5. And I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, then I may build it. And the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him, for how long shall thy journey be, and when wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time.
Right, read on.
Moreover, I said unto the king, if it please the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may convey me over till I come into Judah.
So you can see that the decree was given. You can go back and build up the city, right? So now he's asking for letters so that he can pass through the land safely until he gets to where he needs to go, right? Which is to Judah, right? Read on. Verse 8.
Verse 8, and a letter unto Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the palace, which are pertained to the house, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall enter into. And the king granted me, according to the good hand of my power upon me.
Okay, so that now you can see that there was letters that was given, and also there was people who were supposed to help him get the timber and all this good stuff, but really, it really was a safe passage, okay? Because just troubling times. So you can see that he needed this extra blanket of protection when he was going through these different lands and terrain and forest and all this other stuff to get to Judah, right? All right, so now let's go to Nehemiah and let's go to chapter 4. Okay, and let's start at verse 17. All right.
Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 17. They which build it on the wall, and they that bear burdens with those that laid it, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon.
Right, read on.
For the builders, every one had his sword girded by his side, and so builded. And he that sounded the trumpet was by me.
All right, so you can see that it was troublous times here, because even when they was building the walls and building all, they had to have their weapons by their side. So they had to have one hand doing the work, and they had to have one hand on the weapon, because there was people that was trying to either stop them from doing the work, trying to interfere with them doing the work, just trying to stop them from doing the work, period. Right? So these were the troublous times that was spoken about. All right. So now let's go to Ezra. Let me put this up because I did. So this is some of the stuff that we was reading about. So just to give y'all some time frames, I thought that would be important. So the first year of Cyrus, 536 BC, proclamation to build the temple. And then in Ezra, the second year of Darius, 520 BC, we reaffirmation of Cyrus's decree to rebuild the temple. Let me blow that up, right? Let me blow that up. All right. Now we're going to read some in Ezra. And let's go to chapter 1. Just for some more background, context, history. Ezra chapter 1, and let's start at verse 3. Just to let y'all know that this is the rebuilding of Jerusalem and not the temple. So I want to make sure that I kind of make sure everybody understands, because if you go with the temple, now that's what we're gonna hold with that. That's not what we're talking about. Okay, we are talking about the rebuilding of Jerusalem. All right. So you can go and read on.
Ezra chapter 1, verse 3. Who is there among you of all his people, power being with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of Yahweh, power of Israel. He is the Most High, which is in Jerusalem. And whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts, beside the freewill offering for the house of the Most High that is in Jerusalem.
Verse 5.
Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit the Most High had raised, to go up to build the house of Yahweh which is in Jerusalem.
All right. So you can see that this is during the reign of Cyrus, but this is the rebuilding of the temple, not the city. All right. Everybody with me? Okay. In verse 5, I'll read it again. It's saying, then rose up the chief of the fathers of who? Judah and Benjamin and the priest, right? And the Levites. Okay. So why is that? This is the southern kingdom, right? So where's the northern kingdom?
They just scattered and was just completely left the Most High.
Yeah, they was elsewhere, right? Mostly on this side of the earth. Now, I mean, were there a little bit of northern kingdom with the southern kingdom? Yeah, I'm pretty sure, most definitely, right? But what we're talking about here is the southern kingdom, right? Judah, Benjamin, and the priest Levites. Okay. Now let's jump over to Ezra chapter 4. You're gonna see why it took so long for them to build the temple, because it went through a whole bunch of kings in the Artaxerxes. All right. So let's read Ezra chapter 4. We're going to read verses 1 through 5.
Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. Now, when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto Yahweh, power of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel, the chief of the fathers, and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek your power as ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Ezra, Esarhaddon, king of Asar, which brought us up hither. Zerubbabel and Joshua, and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build a house unto our power, for we ourselves together will build to the
All right.
You read that, brother?
Yeah, Khan. Verse 3 says, but Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our power, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them, right? Troublous time in building, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia. So you want to know why it took so long for them to build the house, to build up Jerusalem? This is why. Because these people took up counsel, crafty counsel, and kind of held these people up from doing the job that they were supposed to be doing. So this went through about 6 years, and we're going to see how long it took. We're going to jump over to Ezra chapter 6 now, right, and get some more context in it, some more history, right? So we're not going to read it all, but we are jumping around to kind of hit the points that we need to hit, right? So Ezra chapter 6 and verse 15, it says, "And the house was finished on the third day of the month Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king." Did you want to read? You want to read? Okay. All right. Well, she'll read, brother.
All right.
All right. So you can see that was finished on the third day of Adar, which was in the 6th year of Darius the king. So it took them 6 years to build the temple for the house of Yahweh. Okay. I mean, Yahweh. Now let's go back to Daniel chapter 9, right? In chapter 9, we're going to read verse 25. Let me get there real quick. All right, Daniel chapter 25, you can go ahead.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks."
Okay, so that's good right there. So you can see that the commandment to rebuild the temple is not the same as the commandment to rebuild the city. So 483 years from the decree from Artaxerxes until the Messiah. Okay, now we're going to get the history. Now we're really going to get into it. Okay, all praise to the Most High. So before we get into the second part, anybody have any questions? All right. So let me see if I want to hit on some of this history real quick. Let me see here. All right. Let me read some of this. Okay, just a little bit of it. This is Let God Be True .com. Just something that I was looking at and thought was interesting. So of course we're going to read the scripture here. It says, "Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem until the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks. And 62 weeks, the street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times." Okay. So the 70 weeks prophecy of Daniel, chapter 9, 24 through 27, is one of the great prophecies of the Old Testament. This prophecy was given to Daniel by the angel Gabriel, specified that 70 weeks of years, 70 years times 7, which is 490 years, was coming for the Jewish people, right? We know we're talking about the Jews here. This period of 490 years would end with the manifestation of the Messiah after the 69th week, which is 483 years. We went over that. And the crucifixion, right? I'm going to jump down here. It says, in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah, we find four royal commands issued by Median and Persian kings that could possibly qualify as the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem. The first command was by Cyrus. And of course, we just read that in Ezra. The second by Darius, we read that. And the third by Artaxerxes in his 7th year in Ezra chapter 7. We haven't read that yet, but we are going to read that. I just thought that this was interesting. If y'all want to read this, it's Let God Be True. And it's, let me see, Cyrus' decree to rebuild. Okay, if y'all want to look at that. All right, so let's get back to it. And let's read verse 26. Barbara Kashar.
Verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of war desolations are determined.
All right, perfect. And after 62 weeks, 62 weeks. All right, that's 62 weeks. Yahushua will be cut off, but not for himself, but for who? It says for the people, right? And who are those people? Right, Israelites, right? The Black, Latino, Native Americans, the nation of Israel, the people. So now let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's go to the Apocrypha.
So
Let's read
that word flood, what does that mean though?
the word flood.
Does that mean like a onslaught? Or are we talking about
Right.
Okay, I got you.
Right, come. Absolutely. So we're in the Apocrypha, we're going to read the second Ezra. We're going to go to chapter 7. We're going to read verse 28. All right, you can read that.
Second Ezra, chapter 7, verse 28.
And pretty much this is just going into what was just spoken about in Daniel. All right, so this is just another telling of the story, so to speak. So you go ahead.
Verse 28. For my son, Yahushua shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years.
Okay, so you can see that my son, Yahushua, right, shall rejoice within 400 years. So from the time of Ezra, this prophecy would occur. So when we read in the book of Daniel, where it talks about weeks in second Ezra, it's talking about in years, but it's also the same timeline. And of course, from Ezra to the Messiah, it was 400 years. So everything's adding up perfectly according to the prophecy and according to the timeline that was given to Daniel. So all praise to the Most High for that. Okay, all praise to the Most High for that. Now let's go back to Daniel. All right, let's go back to Daniel. Chapter 9. And let me tell y'all something. When I was doing this lesson, I gotta tell you, I got kind of stuck up on the weeks and the years and all this stuff, and I was trying to figure it out. So if y'all got any questions, y'all make sure y'all let me know. Okay, you good? All right, and just going back to Daniel chapter 26, we went over there 62 weeks. The Messiah is going to be cut off, but not for himself. But I want to hit this but I'm sorry, but the people, it says, of the prince shall come to destroy the city and the sanctuary. Okay. It says, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Okay. The people of the prince. So we know that the people of this prince coming to destroy the city is not Israelites. So who is this prince? It's not Yahushua. So who is it? Who is this prince that came and destroyed the city? I'm going to leave that open as a question.
The Titus and his son, Titus.
Absolutely. Well, so it's Titus. All right. And of course, you know, Vespasian, but we know that it was Titus who was the chief one. He was the chief person who destroyed Jerusalem. All right. So all praises, all praises. All right. And it says, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and until the end of the war, desolations are determined. So the end thereof with a flood, to the end of the war, desolations are determined. It's talking about the first Jewish-Roman wars that happened between 66 and 73 AD, which is 7 years. Because we're prophetically we're dealing with we're dealing in years, not weeks. And so this is the middle, 70 AD. Y'all remember what happened in 70 AD, right? So that's how we know that is actually everything is adding up. So I do have something on that also. Let me find that. So right here, the first Jewish-Roman war, right? Let me read down here at the bottom. It says the first Jewish-Roman war, sometimes called the Great Jewish Revolt or the Jewish War, was the first of 3 major rebellions by the Jews against the Roman Empire fought in the province of Judea. So what does it say? The start date 66 AD and the end date was 73 AD. Y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
7 years. All praise it to the Most High. So now let me go back here. I want to get something else. Yeah, please.
Oh, a crazy question.
Mm-mm.
But
Not crazy.
on Daniel 9 verse 26, when it says the end will come with the flood, is that talking about the first, like Noah's flood?
What's that? No.
That's not talking about Noah's flood.
First Jewish. First Jewish revolt. Okay. So let's read a little bit about this. Just a little bit. You can touch on it for a little bit. All right. Let me see. It says the first of 3 major rebellions by the Jews against the Roman Empire fought in the province of Judea, resulting in the destruction of Jewish towns and displacement of its people, and the appropriation of land for military use, as well as the destruction of the Jewish temple and polity. All right. So you can see that as the first. So the revolt began in 66 during the 12th year of the reign of Nero, originating in oppressive rule of Roman governors. The widening gaps between the wealthy aristocracy and the downtrodden masses, and the Roman and Jewish religious tensions. Remember that the Roman and Jewish religious tensions, the crisis escalated due to anti-taxation protests. Doesn't matter how it started, just that it happened. And it happened according to prophecy. Well, praise to the Most High for that. Just showing that we can actually go back and look at history and see how something that was written 200 years before it happened, how it transpired, and actually almost to a pinpoint accuracy, right? So all praise to the Most High for that. All right, so let's go back to Daniel chapter 9. We're going to read verse, let me see, what did I hit on? Okay, we hit on that. We hit on that. Yeah, let's go to 27. I think we hit on that scripture pretty good.
Verse 27. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overthrow of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even unto the confirmation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
Okay, so he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. All right, so that confirmation of that covenant was from 66 AD to 73 AD. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And how exactly did that happen? Because in the midst of the middle of 66 and 73 AD, y'all remember, is 70 AD. We just read the history on it. And what happened then? The temple was destroyed. And when the temple is destroyed, we are no longer able to make sacrifices and oblations to our God, to Yahweh, to our power. Okay? So y'all can see how the oblation was caused to cease. All right? Now, when we read up, it says, confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. So what's the meaning of that? Confirm the covenant for 1 week. Well, when we jump back up to Daniel chapter 9, when we jump back up to verse 11, right? And read 11 and 12 for me, please, Baba Christian.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 11. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon them. And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him.
Mm-hmm.
And he has confirmed his words.
He has confirmed his words, right? The confirming of the covenant, right? Read on.
Which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us,
Mm-hmm.
by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem.
All right. So what's the confirmation of the covenant? It is the curse of Deuteronomy 28 and confirms his words. That's what confirmed his words, the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. So through the curses that would be poured out upon us, specifically the curses dealing with Deuteronomy 28, and all this is in relation to 70 AD. So we see a majority, if not all the curses of Deuteronomy 28 being fulfilled within the time frame from 66 AD to 73 AD. So now I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open it up real quick to everybody on the line. I want to give some examples of Deuteronomy 28, some of the curses that we see going on during the time from 70 AD up until now. But specifically, let's just talk about all the curses. So let's just go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's read the curses because we want to make this real life, right? Because there was something, it said Israel transgressed, so now the confirmation of the covenant that was given to Moses is about to be poured out upon you. So these curses, when we read verse 15, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 says, but it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So y'all go through these curses and y'all tell me, according to the history that we know about, what are some of these curses that came upon us in 70 AD? Let me give y'all one more. Let me give y'all one more so I can kind of get your mind to flowing. Get your minds to flowing, right? Luke chapter 21, and I'm gonna start at verse 24. Right? This is during the time of 70 AD. So it says, and they, I'm sorry, you want to read it? You can read it.
Luke chapter 21, verse 24.
Hold on. I want to jump up. Let's start at verse 20.
Luke chapter 21 and verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
It says, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, compassed with armies, Shalaki, then know that the desolation thereof is not. So the desolation spoken about in Daniel, but it's going to say, I'm sorry, Shalaki, go ahead. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the country enter therein too.
So let's just kind of break that down. So Yahweh Shai, this is red letter, Yahweh Shai speaking, Jesus, who people call Jesus Christ, right? It's saying those that are in Judea, they need to flee to the mountains when they see Jerusalem compassed about with the Roman armies, surrounded by the Roman armies. They need to flee to the mountains. And it's telling them that are not in Judea, don't come to Judea. Don't come here. Okay? So that's pretty much what that is saying. So just remember that when we go into these curses. Read on.
Verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
Okay, so now we get into the fulfillment of the what? The confirmation of the covenant that was given to Moses when we broke the laws of the Most High. Read.
Verse 23. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that get sucked in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Now that we got a better understanding of what was going on during the time of 70 AD, we see that those that went to Judea had to flee. We see that those that was outside around the surrounding countryside don't come in. All right. We see that those that was given stuck in those days is going to be so stressful for them. And why would that be? Anybody want to take a guess why it would be so stressful in those days when the Roman Empire surrounded them and started to tear down and break down and destroy everything? Why is that? Why would it be stressful for the mothers giving sucking in the day?
They had enough of Jerusalem and Israel coming up against them, so finally they had enough of them, so they destroyed them. And basically,
Yeah,
like I said,
it gets worse. Yeah, it gets worse. So let's get into these curses.
Verse
Let's get
24
into
and
these curses.
25, that describes to a T.
All right, let me see it. 24 and 25. All right, you want to read that?
Deuteronomy 28.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 20. Yeah.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 24 and 25. So verse 24 says, Yahweh shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. That's right, brother. That's right. Very good. That's perfect. Oh, praises. All right, let's get some more of these curses. Read verse 29. Verse 29 says, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. That's one. We can go through these, but I want to get one more before I give it over to y'all. Because I want to go back to it's going to be it's going to be a stressful day for those mothers giving suck in those days, right? And if y'all know the history of what was going on, they actually kept them inside the city. They ran out of water and they ran out of food. So those who give suck in them days, they're not going to be able to feed their babies with milk. Right. Right. So what's going to happen to the baby?
Yeah, they're gonna starve, but they're starving and they're starving this at the same time.
Because they starve to death.
Verse 55.
Verse 55. That's it. Yeah.
Verse 55 says, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left in the seed. And in the straightness wherewith thy enemy shall distress thee in all thy days.
Keep reading. Keep reading.
The tender and delicate one among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter.
Read on.
Verse 57, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward children which she beareth. For she shall eat them. For what of all things teaching and deceives and straightening, wherewith thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gate. So she's gonna be that stressed to the point where she's gonna eat her own baby. Well, not only stressed, but starving. So by there not being any food, there's gonna be famine to where she's gonna kill her children and eat them because she's hungry. I don't know if it was, I couldn't say killing, straight out killing, but if the children die, there's nothing to eat. So she's gonna eat her baby. Right. That's a fact. They already doing it now. You got cannibalism. Yeah, cannibalism. Yeah. But they're not starving, But we're talking about the Israelites here, right? Anybody else have any scriptures they want to bring out?
Verse 64.
Verse 64, okay, no problem. Get that. All right, read up on 5%. Verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone, which is the stone. And it's the cobblestone. So let's get 43 through 44. Right. This was going on. We read about this earlier. 43 and 44. Verse 43. Saying, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 43 says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So that happened, most definitely. Right. Okay. Anybody have any more?
I do have a question, verse 68.
Okay, come on. Verse 68 says,
What?
and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. and no man shall buy you.
Okay.
My question is, what is the it? I'm assuming, the land of Israel. And then when it says, and bond women, for bond, you will be sold to your enemies. But then he comes back and said, but no man shall buy you. He said you're going to be sold, but then no man shall buy you.
Yeah, so the it is the homeland.
Israel,
And when it
okay.
says, right, your homeland, because we as a collective, as a people, we have not, as a nation, have gone back to our homeland. Okay. And then when it says, when we be sold into your enemies for bond men and bond women, that's talking about slave man and slave woman,
Right.
and no one shall buy you. That's talking about redemption or redeeming you. No one's going to be able to redeem you, because back in ancient days, when we went into, when we, like, let's say, I'm gonna put you as a person that I sold myself to, right? Like I owed you money, so I would sell myself to you and work for you to work that debt off. But then, let's say I got a cousin or uncle who said, I don't want you working like that. I'm going to redeem you out of that. So they pay the money for me to get out of that captivity or that job. I'm gonna say job or that work, whatever. So you could actually pay for somebody to get out of that. This right here saying no one shall buy you, meaning nobody's gonna be able to get you out of that condition. Nobody's gonna buy you. Nobody's gonna redeem you out of that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, con. Well, praise to the Most High. That pretty much ends the lesson. Let me see. There might be a couple more precepts in here, but does anybody have any more questions?
Go to the scriptures about going back in Egypt. It's not really Egypt. And then goes back into bondage again.
Are you sure?
Con.
Hey, brother,
Jacob. Jacob told him to marry Rachel, right?
Yeah. Pretty much. That's good. Yeah. Just like Jacob sold himself. But no, that's not the same thing, because he wasn't forced to do that, or he didn't have to do that to make up for something that he owed. So no, that wouldn't be the same, bro. That wouldn't be the same. All right. So with that, all praises to the Most High. Let me get back on here real quick. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right. So all praises to the Most High. Hope y'all were edified. Hope y'all got something out of that. With that, let's say shalom.